gasped in horror, at a loss for words. The mayor seemed to be passing something along into her earpiece, though I couldn't imagine what he could have said that I didn't. Those heartless aliens hadn't spared us at all after we laid our hearts bare to them. Kabir's face flashed through my mind, panicking as he tried to shut down the drill. An intelligent, dedicated young man who was dead because I put the greedy Xeno's interests ahead of human life. I could still feel my nose being pressed into the dirt, as I thought I'd suffocated alive. I could remember my final thoughts of regrets, and the horror when I awakened to find we'd have no chance. My head was swimming even now from the aftermath of those wounds, leaving me in a sorry state that didn't move Gress at all. Would that Krev have cared if I died, if hundreds of humans died? My fingers tightened around the cane in rage, before with a sudden rush of adrenaline, I found myself stomping after the rent collector on steady feet. I swung the walking aid back, and before Charisse could react, I clobbered it against the back of his skull. The Krev emitted a startled shriek, which cut off as he crumpled into an unconscious ball. Steaming with white-hot, blinding fury, I brought the cane back for another swing. Charisse's arms dragged me away with desperation. I could barely hear her pleas for me to stop. All I could see was, in the last moments I saw him alive, and that suffocating sensation I couldn't clear from my mind. Security guard Benson finally got a handle on me, wrestling me to the ground. My burst of strength fizzled in an instant as I laid on my side, immobile. What the fuck did you just do? Hathaway's screaming it, and I fucking agree with him. Charisse shouted. We can't go to war with them, Taylor. You know that. What you just did could really get all of us killed. I blinked, shameful tears welling in my eyes. Fuck. Gress. Gress is out cold. He's not waking up anytime soon. And now, we can't let him go. We all have to find a way to fix this. Hathaway, send medics. We need someone to carry Gress while he's still out, down to a private infirmary. Bring someone to help Taylor get back too. We should have never let him out like this. I sucked in several dazed breaths, processing the gravity of what I'd just done, assaulting Gress. Charisse was correct that we couldn't have the Krev return to his home and tell his people that we physically attacked him. That could mean war between our people. The only thing I could think of was that we needed to hurry up and leave before a search party came looking for the rent collector. Maybe it was still possible to get some information out of Gress and persuade him to call off the dogs. As I waited for the medics to arrive, I desperately racked my brain for any possible way to correct my colossal. This had only worsened the prior burden of guilt over how I'd ruined humanity's chances on Tellus. The Nature of Predators, 2-9. Memory transcription subject, Tassi, Standardized Human Time, March 17th, 21. After the conclusion of the feast, Lossman's government scrambled preparations for what we needed to bring to Earth. In the span of a few hours, Naltor and I were briefed on the administration's official policy, while the diplomatic corps were left to assist the Sapient Coalition in establishing relations with our other nations. I wasn't sure what their final assessments and dossiers to the aliens would look like, but with Dustin confirming that our oceanic status was dire, I hoped the collective threat would bring us together to work on the solution. Fishing and water were the gifts to our species, like Haliska said, and watching it slip from our grasp for good would be shameful. If dooming Ivrana wasn't enough incentive, visitors from another world were an awakening to Bissum's similarities with each other as well. I haven't been following the diplomatic side of things too thoroughly, but it looks like the Thafki running off has led to wild speculation on social media and from foreign powers. Even Naltor agrees that repeating what Dustin said to us in public would be ill-advised, yet our silence makes us all look guilty. The landing party informed us that it would be a 3-day ride to Earth, on the edge of our galactic arm. It was mind-boggling to grasp that they could traverse what was apparently over 300 light-years in such a short span, a shorter journey than it would have been for us to travel to our moon. I had buckled myself into the seat, trusting the aliens' technology implicitly. It had ferried them here with success, so there was no reason to mistrust its efficacy. Questions raced in my head about how the warp drive worked. Nulia's simplified explanation of it bending space was insufficient for my curiosity. what it would when it kicked into effect, and whether the technology would be passed along to Bissums. One day, this could be a normalized mode of travel for us as well, if the aliens were willing to share. I knew that Dustin was mindful about cultural side effects from interfering with our natural development, but I believed they would gift these wonders to us in time. The humans said they wanted us to join the galactic community. There would be nothing I'd delight in more than to wander the galaxy and gaze upon new civilizations. While I was bursting with excitement and frenetic theories as early as liftoff, Naltor displayed more apprehension. The Selmer general had been mindlessly applying waterproof oil from his tail gland, despite the fact we would be nowhere near water in the stars. Not even a hardened military man was immune to the majesty of Ivrana from above. The orange expanses of the algae-bloom oceans, mixing with the greens of the landmasses and the whites of the Merle Huddledom's polar ice caps, were more evocative than any work on a canvas. General Naltor had never shared my ecstasy at the visitor's arrival. I believed he signed on to go to Earth out of fear that I was putting myself in danger, as well as a duty to report what he saw for business. However, ascending up from the globe that encompassed our entire society, the entirety of our lives and knowledge, Naltor's eyes, it was breathtaking in a way that would only be mocked by pictures. The emotions that washed over me as I gazed out the window at my home were exactly how the Saya astronauts who first orbited our world described them. Seeing the stars stretching out to infinity behind Ivrana, I felt unspeakably small and more attached to Bissums from all parts of the globe than ever before. It was as though, for an instant, my consciousness was merged with everyone who'd lived during my species' existence. Here, in this moment, we were one entity. Even our precious world was so small in the infinite blackness. I wanted nothing more than to preserve Ivrana, to avoid destroying the rock that'd given us an abundance of beauty and gifts. Getting each Bissum nation on board with Dustin's mission was something I would die for. It's surreal to think how far away we are from Ivrana, I murmured to the obfuscated viewport, still lost in that liftoff experience from days ago. I didn't know how I'd ever get used to casually chatting with aliens or playing our board games. Haliska loved the Saya game, Migration, with them. Dustin says we'll be reaching Earth within the hour. We're crossing into their system now. Apparently, they get a ton of starship traffic. The amount of people moving through space, coming and going. I could sit and watch them at the spaceport. I could stick around just in that building. Naltor fixed me with a hard scowl, trying to disguise his apprehension at our locale. We have much more important tasks than sightseeing, Tassie. I appreciate that you're completely oblivious to our helplessness, but we've been at their mercy since we boarded this ship. There will be no one coming to rescue us if they decide to hold us hostage or turn on us. Then what option do we have but